Welcome to the Explainer. Pull up a chair, get comfortable, and let's take a bit of a fireside journey today. We're going to literally dig deep into the hidden complexities of the oil industry. We're stepping way past those pump jocks you see nodding on the horizon, and we're descending thousands of feet underground. Our goal? To really understand the incredibly fragile, highly tense relationship between human engineering and ancient, unyielding geology.
Okay, let's dive into this because it's a super provocative question, right? Think about it. When we don't need water, we just turn off the faucet. When we leave a room, we flip the light switch. So when there's a huge global surplus of crude oil, like the crashes we saw back in 2014 or that historic chaos of 2020, why on earth do oil producers keep the pumps running? Why not just hit the brakes? Well, to answer that, we actually need to completely break your mental model of how extraction works. See, the myth is that drilling a well is basically like sticking a long straw into a giant, open, underground cavern, just a dark, subterranean lake waiting to be easily siphoned. But the reality? Oh, it's far more stubborn. The oil is actually trapped as tiny, microscopic drops inside solid, porous rock. It's like a dense stone sponge. An oil well is absolutely not a simple faucet. It's a living, breathing, incredibly fragile ecosystem that's completely governed by intense pressure and a very delicate physical balance.
Act 1. The context. Let's lay the groundwork.
This brings us to a guiding philosophy from the author of our source material, something we call Papa's Take. To really humanize this massive industrial operation, we can look at the ancestral wisdom of Papa Q. Bear, who knew that the Earth doesn't just willingly give up its treasures, alongside the incredibly grounded practical reality of Colonel Debs, who deeply understands the harsh economic truths of running a business. Put those perspectives together, and they teach us one absolutely crucial lesson. To understand the well, you must respect the rock.
Take a look at this industry term right here, a shut-in. This is basically the act of temporarily closing an oil well and stopping production. Now, they don't do this because the well is dry. It's usually a forced hand, driven by plummeting market economics, a lack of pipeline capacity, or emergency maintenance. But as you're about to see, stopping that continuous flow disrupts a very, very carefully orchestrated equilibrium. Picture that rock sponge we were just talking about. Sometimes it has lots of holes in it. That's high porosity, but those tiny pockets aren't actually connected, which means it has low permeability. To move through those microscopic, disconnected little highways, the oil needs immense, relentless pressure. If you shut in a well, you kill that continuous pressure. The flow stops, and the oil simply settles into a stagnant, stubborn state, refusing to move.
Act 2. The tension. Let's look at what happens when that flow stops.
When a well sits idle, the pressure equalizes, and the fluids inside literally start to separate. Heavy water sinks and collects at the bottom of the wellbore, while gas intrudes into spots it really shouldn't be. Without that constant, healthy flow, you get harmful bacteria growing, and scale, wax, and sand start precipitating out of the fluids. It's essentially a rising tide of complexity inside a dark stone labyrinth. The well develops clogged arteries, and when you finally try to turn it back on, there's a real chance it won't flow at all. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the brutal tension producers face. During the price crashes of 2014 and that wild negative pricing we saw in April 2020, operators had to make an agonizing choice. Do you sell cheap oil at a massive financial loss just to keep those fluids moving and the well physically alive? Or do you shut in and risk permanent damage, clogged pipes, and terrifying restart costs? It's literally a high-stakes game of chicken with the Earth itself. Because look at this number. If an operator shuts a well in, they usually have to lay off their contract pumpers and field operators just to survive the immediate cash crunch. But let's say prices recover and they want to flip the switch back on. The costs are staggering. We're talking $85,000 to $130,000 a year to rehire just one single experienced field operator with a truck. For older, low-producing wells, that single human resource cost makes it economically perilous to ever restart them once they've been abandoned.
So how on earth do companies survive this tension? Well, they adapt. Instead of eating the massive cost of rehiring full manual crews for physical, daily well visits, operators are quickly shifting to remote monitoring tech like Watchdog SCADA systems. This is a game changer. It lets a single operator perform virtual well site visits right from their phone. They manage purely by exception, meaning they only drive out to the site when a specific well actually raises an alarm. It completely rewrites the economic viability of restarting these shut-in wells.
Act 3. The connection. Let's make this physics visible.
Think of a brand new, untapped oil reservoir like a vigorously shaken bottle of soda.
When you crack open that cap, the natural high pressure makes the liquid spray out effortlessly. That's your classic movie-style gusher. But once that pressure equalizes, you still have soda sitting at the bottom of the bottle. To get it out, you have to stick a straw in and actively suck. It takes external energy, time, and artificial lift mechanisms to keep that depleted fluid moving upward. And as for why we can't just suck the reservoir 100% dry before plugging it, imagine a damp kitchen sponge or a rug where you just spill the glass of water. You can press a towel into it, you can squeeze it with all your might, you can even hit it with a heavy-duty shop vacuum. But no matter what you do, that porous material is going to stay slightly damp. The microscopic rock pores are exactly the same. They will simply never let go of all their liquid. The physics of the Earth flat out won't allow it. I love this quote from the source material. It's basically the same problem as trying to get the last few drops off your drink up through the straw or getting the last bits out of the toothpaste. We've all been there, right? The crucial takeaway here is that the less oil there is left in the rock, the exponentially more expensive, exhausting, and energy-intensive it becomes to force it out. Eventually, the math simply stops working. And when that math does stop working, the wells are permanently plugged and abandoned. They essentially turn into natural concrete tanks sitting deep underground. From a purely objective standpoint, these out-of-service wells become an evolving physical landscape challenge. Because they exist within a dynamic, shifting Earth, some older, uncapped wells can slowly leak methane gas. It's just a strict, unavoidable physical consequence of manipulating the geology, and it presents an ongoing puzzle that the industry has to constantly manage. This synthesis. Let's pull all of this together. So, the absolute crucial points we need to walk away with are these. First, wells are fragile rock sponges, not simple on and off faucets. Second, hitting the brakes and shutting them in carries a huge risk of creating clogged arteries from separated water, wax, and scale. Third, even if the well physically survives being turned off, restarting it means jumping over brutal economic hurdles. And finally, to navigate all of this, the industry is rapidly leaning on smart, remote technology to replace manual oversight. I want to leave you with this beautifully reflective thought inspired by Papa. We don't conquer the reservoir, we negotiate with it. Every drop extracted is a testament to human effort meeting geological stubbornness. I think that really hits the nail on the head. It reminds us that no matter how massive our steel rigs are or how advanced our digital sensors become, we are ultimately just visitors trying to strike a bargain with the deep earth. Which leaves us with one final lingering question to ponder. As our algorithms get smarter and our tools grow sharper, will our mastery of technology ever truly overcome the stubborn, ancient physics of the earth beneath our feet? Or will the rock always have the final say? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning the systems that power our world, and I'll see you next time.